What's up, speeders? Welcome back to Speed Free TV. I'm Hafizh, and this is gonna be the easiest review I've ever done because this is the GLA35, and we've already driven the A35 a few months back, and it's pretty much the same car, so there's not really that much to say here, except maybe three key differences. So first of all, it's obviously this is a crossover, so you have more ground clearance. It's about 18 centimeters here, so you don't have to worry about scraping the car. So it's a lot more practical, it's a lot easier to drive. Your wife or your kids could use it and you don't have to worry about it. And crucially, at the back, there's also a rear diffuser, just like in the A35, but because this is taller, you don't have to worry about scraping it when parking. Because this is an AMG, obviously there are a few differences from the standard GLA. So the bumpers are different, a little more aggressive. You've got Panamericana grills, you've got an AMG badge right here. The wheels are bigger. These are AMG twin 5-spoke wheels. You've got bigger brakes with drilled rotors, so it should dissipate heat better, and you could go harder for longer. Turbo 4matic, so this is all-wheel drive with front-wheel drive tendency. You have a teeny tiny bit of extension here on the spoiler, I guess a bit more downforce. You got the GLA35 badging, you've got the AMG badging right there, twin exhaust pipes, and a rear diffuser right here. What else? That's about it. Everything else is pretty much the same GLA from the outside. Inside, it's pretty much the same as the A35. You have a digital driver display, you have an infotainment display, it's touchscreen. Steering wheel is also the same. You've got controls for the driver display on the right and cruise control. You've got controls for the infotainment display on the left. You also get a couple of switches for the driving controls. You can change your driving modes, comfort, sport, sport plus. You can also set the suspension, the transmission, whether you want auto or manual, and AMG dynamics from the button right here. And then down here, you've got switches for the AC controls, which is nice. We always love physical switches. I really wish Mercedes would keep this in their future cars. These are nice and easy to use, just so much better than touchscreens. What else? You can also change your driving modes from here. You've got a button for your parking camera, and then a couple of cup holders. You've got a USB-C charger right there, and wireless charging for your phone. And yeah, you've got the usual cubby space right here. And then of course you have some carbon fiber trims here and there on the dashboard and on the doors to remind you that this is an AMG after all. It's a sporty car. Oh, you've got Burmester sound system. They sound pretty good, very bass heavy. Seats are a mix of sweat and leather, which are very nice as well. Yeah, there's not that much going on here, but it is a really nice interior, and I think this is the best sort of modern Mercedes interior. I do prefer this over the new interior in the C-Class, the E-Class, the S-Class. I mean, the S-Class probably has a little better build quality than this, but the design, the mix of digital and physical switches on this car, I think is just overall a bit better. At the back, you have to remember this is a subcompact SUV, so it's quite small and there's not a lot of leg room. I think it's fine. I'm 169 centimeters and this is my driving position, and yeah, it's fine. I feel like maybe a 3-hour road trip in this car would be okay. But if you're a bit taller, like maybe 180, 185, then maybe it's not gonna be the most comfortable experience. Also, not a lot of things in the back. You get some AC fence, but yeah, that's about it. You don't even get... You get an armrest, I guess. Could be an armrest, but there's no cup holders at the back. The luggage space it's okay. It's nothing really special. It is bigger than the A35 sedan, about 60 liters bigger. So that's not so bad. You can fit this AMG suitcase. It's about 37.5 liters. So that's not bad. And you've got this AMG backpack. We've got this AMG hat and jacket here, and all of them are really cool. And you can actually get this for free. If this video comes out before September ends, hopefully, you can get these for free for every purchase of your A35 or GLA35. Back to the luggage space. Again, it's nothing special, but it's practical enough. However, you should keep in mind that if you were to get a BMW iX1 or the new Mini Countryman or the new XC40, the Volvo XC40, the luggage space is gonna be bigger, a little bigger than this. However, while the luggage space in this car isn't all that impressive, the way this car drives is still pretty impressive. So, 2-liter 4-cylinder unit. It's not from AMG, it's from Mercedes-Benz. This is the same engine unit as you'll find in the GLA200 or 250. It has been tuned, 306 horsepower, 400 Newton meters of torque. It's a mild hybrid system. You've got an 8-speed automatic transmission and a 4-matic all-wheel drive system. So it's all-wheel drive, but most of the power is going to go to the front wheels most of the time, unless the car feels like it's necessary to send power to the back. And of course, it has launch control. It's a dual clutch, so yeah, we've got it in Sport Plus, and we're in drive, so yeah, not bad at all. That's actually pretty quick. So 306 horsepower, I think that's just generally enough on a day-to-day basis. For everyday driving, that's plenty enough, And it does 0 to 100 in 5.2 seconds. And the launch control is, it's pretty good. It's pretty quick, not too violent. The only thing is that with the launch control, it holds the RPM at 3,500 RPM, a little over that. But that's like a little outside the boost range. So when you let go of the brake, the car has to spend like a second, almost 2 seconds to climb up the RPM to finally reach the boost range. And then it really comes to life. So there's like a moment after the launch control where you're sort of waiting for the engine to really come to life. But yeah, in terms of straight line speed, I think the A35 feels slightly faster. Although I don't think there's much difference. The bigger difference is, of course, in the handling and the comfort. So when it comes to handling, the steering feel is pretty much the same. It is equally numb as the A35. However, I do like the shape and the size of the steering wheel. I think they're the perfect size and shape for me. And the steering ratio is actually spot on. I really do like the steering ratio in this and the A35. And it makes it actually quite enjoyable to handle at city speeds. Handling itself, as you'd expect, this is a crossover. It's not quite as sharp or as nice as the A35. There is quite a lot of body roll when you go through a corner quickly. And there's more hint of understeer in this car. I think the limits of this car is very, very high. So if you're driving, even if you're driving a bit quickly, but you're driving within reasonable limits of public road driving, I don't think you're gonna be hitting that limit anytime soon, But just be aware that there is quite a big, you can feel the weight on the front of the car, and if you push it just a little too hard, this car will understeer. So it does have a little more understeer. It has quite a lot more body roll, but because of the steering, I do feel like this is still quite a fun car to drive. It's not as sharp as an 835, but it's still pretty fun. As far as crossovers go, this is actually pretty good. I think it's all about managing expectations, right? If you're driving the 835, it's gonna be properly good fun. That it's quite sharp, properly quick and everything. In this car, not quite as sharp as the 835, but you can still have fun with it. I think it's all a matter of managing expectations. Just remember that you are in a crossover SUV, so it's not gonna be as sharp. But nevertheless, still pretty good. The main thing that I do want to talk about is the comfort of this car. So the A35 is actually more comfortable than this car. I think the reason being is because obviously this is a crossover, and as I understand it, they stiffen up the rear suspension to make the car to keep the car stable. This car is taller, obviously, it's bigger than the A35, but they stiffen up the rear suspension so the car remains stable and the handling is still good. This is an AMG after all, so it has to perform in the corners as well. And the stiffness is fine, but I do find that this car bounces quite a lot, especially when the roads are uneven. There's like a lot of undulations on the road, it bounces quite a lot in comfort mode. So I actually find myself putting it in Sport Plus. I put the suspension in Sport Plus more often because, well, it doesn't bounce as much. You know, when there's undulations on the road, the car just sort of goes with it, and it's a lot less comfortable. You know, Sport Plus is also a bit stiff. It's a little harsh, I guess, but it doesn't bounce as much, and I just find that better, really. Other notes about the driving experience: we manage around 9.7 kilometers per liter of city driving, which isn't great, but highway driving can be as efficient as 15 kilometers per liter if you're careful. Steering is a little too light, so we usually turn on AMG dynamics so it has a bit more weight to it. And the car has active safety features like blind spot monitoring and active braking assist, but there's no adaptive cruise control. So, to recap, it's not as sharp as the A35 and it's less comfortable. The car bounces a lot in comfort mode, however, in Sport Plus mode, it still isn't quite as stiff or as sharp as we'd like it to be. So, buy the A35, right? Well, hang on. I'll give you our advice at the end, but for now, there is one more key difference between this and the A35, and I want to talk about the ownership experience. So the final difference between this car and the A35 is the price. The A35 is about 1.2 billion rupiah before taxes. This car is about 1.34. It's about 120 million rupiah more expensive than the A35. However, the rest of the ownership experience should be the same. They have the same warranty packages. They have the same 2-year tire warranty and service packages. In any case, this car and the A35 represents the most affordable way for you to get into the AMG Club Indonesia, and that may be a good networking opportunity. And if anyone ever says that, oh, this is an AMG 35, it's not a real AMG, you can tell them that they are wrong, because first of all, the engine is not a purebred engine from AMG, but it's tuned by them. The suspension is tuned by AMG, and you get access to AMG Club Indonesia, and that's supported by Mercedes-Benz Indonesia, and really that's the most important thing. And besides, who cares if it's not a real AMG? The A35, yeah, you could say it's not a real AMG, but it's a great car to drive. Who cares? And it represents great value. It's one of the best value cars you can have these days. So of course, the big question now is probably, okay, should you buy this or the A35? Well, if you value driving and you want something really nice to drive, something a bit more comfortable, something really sharp, you should get the A35. However, if you're going to use the car on a daily basis and maybe your kids or your wife or your driver or your chauffeur is going to use it, then maybe this is the better option. The higher ground clearance does mean there are compromises. However, it also means it's just a little bit more practical and easier to live with every day. I do prefer the A35 a bit more, but I do enjoy driving this car though. Still a very fun car to drive, so I'm going to drive it some more. Thank you, speeders. See you on the next one.